Young Thug is not helping himself at all in this RICO case, as today it was just announced that Young Thug tried pulling something during trial in front of several cameras and security guards, as Young Thug was caught in the process and will be facing consequences for this soon. It was today announced, exclusive, my colleague Mark just obtained surveillance video that shows the moment prosecutors accuse Young Thug and his co-defendant, Khalif Adams, of conduring a hand-to-hand deal in the courtroom. Now here is the court footage. Watch very closely to Young Thug. Leave a like on the video if you're a fan of Young Thug. I'm curious how many fans are watching today. The Twitter thread continues saying, prosecutors say the surveillance shows Adams walking over to where Young Thug is seated with his attorney and then drops narcotics in his hand. A deputy then confronts Young Thug and he turns over the item to authorities. When deputies searched Adams, they found him in possession of narcotics wrapped in plastic and food seasoning to conceal the odor, according to investigators. Investigators say Adams was taken to Grady Hospital after he appeared to ingest other items of contraband in effort to conceal the extent of his crimes within the courtroom. Prosecutors filed a motion asking the court to make a finding of fact that court was delayed on January 18th, 2023 because of the actions of defendant Williams and defendant Adams. To the final tweet stating, an attorney, Keith Adams, for Young Thug responded to the allegations that his client was involved in the deal, with the audio of one of Young Thug's lawyers reacting to the allegations being released online.
The reality is, Mr. Williams had nothing to do with what went on in the courtroom on yesterday. One of the co-defendants, on his way to the restroom, attempted to pass something to Mr. Williams, who immediately turned it over to the deputy.
He did not know it was allegedly Percocet?
Did not know. Well, we don't know what it is. Did not know what it was, turned it over to the deputy right away. The deputies took action. The individual who had the contraband, not Mr. Williams, was taken into the back.
The Young Thug trial has began a week and a half ago. So much is happening. With many things looking bad for Young Thug, there is, however, one positive. The trial is being delayed for a little amount of time due to a juror. This works huge in Young Thug's favor, giving him and his lawyers more time to create defenses for the YSL Kingpin. As it was announced this week, a juror in the Young Thug trial skipped her jury duty to go on vacation. This usually results in jail time, but instead the judge is forcing the juror to write a 30-page paper instead. Here are the requirements stated by Young Thug's judge.
Contempt is punishable easily by a fine of $1,000 and or 20 days in jail. I am not going to fine you. What I then want to do is, in order for you to satisfy your contempt, I'm going to commute the 20 days and require you to write a 30-page paper on the importance of jury service. Here's the criteria. You'll have to do APA style. You're going to have to use at least 10 primary sources, 10 secondary sources. You'll talk at a minimum, and I'll write this in the order. You're going to write at a minimum history, the history of jury service, who could not serve on a jury, because that's very important.
These are pretty hard requirements, but in the end, this works out great for Young Thug. During that court hearing, Young Thug's new charges were also outlined, as out of 65 total charges going against the group YSL, the Kingpin Young Thug is being charged with 8 counts, but is sadly looking at very severe charges that could look at life in prison. as the 8 charges Young Thug is currently facing is conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations, otherwise known as the RICO Act, 1 charge of participation in criminal street activity, 1 count of possession of narcotics with intent to distribute, possession of a special type of drink with intent to distribute, possession of more narcotics, possession of a firearm, and 1 charge of possession of switches for firearms. These charges have all been confirmed as YSL members snitched out Young Thug, giving all of the feds the evidence they need against him for these selected charges. However, Young Thug had even more charges go against him after Gunna decided to accept a plea deal in the courtroom. YSL members have been snitching on Young Thug as well ever since day 1 of the case. As this occurred, the same day Young Thug was arrested alongside 28 members of YSL.
He's the one directing traffic. He is the one they're all afraid of. He's the one that's King Slime. He is the most dangerous of the 28, Judge. And I implore you not to grant him a bond. He is dangerous. If he gets a burner, Judge, and the court may know this, a lot of the communications that Mr. Williams is on FaceTime because it's not traceable, it's not trackable. Judge, I will also say that we have taken proffers from fellow from Mr. Williams. Some are on this indictment, some are not. They have stated uniformly that Mr. Williams is dangerous. They are afraid of him, that if they cross him, he will them and their family. And they were very clear about that.
Concerns that this court has is danger to persons and to intimidate other witnesses and obstruct the administration of justice. So and for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time.
As this happened on the exact date all 28 members of YSL were arrested, the moment one of them walked through the jail doors, they decided, hey, I'll give you anything you want. I'm willing to snitch to get out of here. However, there's one member snitching that affected Young Thug the absolute most. This YSL member is Gunna, as on December 14th, YSL rapper Gunna accepted his plea deal in the courtroom. In this plea deal, Gunna admitted that YSL is a street team that commits crimes as shared in this video.
You agree or acknowledge that the statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocarbons and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL to the detriment of my community. YSL again. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
After the Gunna snitching video went viral online, DJ Academics tweeted, YSL is having a beef on Instagram. Gunna came out, tried testing the water, claiming YSL the label, and even said free Young Thug. Everybody in YSL is looking at Gunna like, buddy, you are the reason he is in there. And they all unfollowed him right after, even Young Thug's sister as well. Now this all began when Gunna tried to, quote, test the water. He tweeted on his Twitter, rest in peace Lil Keed, I love you and I miss you twin, referring to the late YSL rapper who sadly passed a few weeks after Gunna and Young Thug were originally arrested. He then later posted on his Instagram a picture of him in his at-home studio with a caption stating, people acting like they're switching to a side, but it's only one side. Hashtag YSL the label, free Young Thug and Yak. This Instagram post got a lot of backlash from YSL members that are staying true to YSL and Young Thug throughout his trial. As YSL King Mondo replied to Gunna on Instagram, I ain't gonna bite my tongue. Baby boy, you don't need to be saying nothing about YSL or free Young Thug after what you said and did. You really got some nerve. And it even went as far as Tekashi 6ix9ine replying to Gunna on Instagram saying, In court, you said it was a team. Here on IG, you're saying the label. LOL, you cannot make this up. After the beef online went silent for a few days, things got much worse for Gunna, as rappers continued to call him out and unfollow him for what he did to Young Thug. As on January 14th, 2 big name rappers were added to the list. These rappers being none other than Gunna's old best friends Lil Baby and Lil Durk, as DJ Academics shared a snippet of a new Lil Durk song. In the lyrics it says, "What happened to Virgil, he's probably gonna tell," referring to the collab song that Lil Durk had with Gunna titled "What Happened to Virgil." Lil Durk has not spoken publicly about Gunna snitching, but him sneak dissing him instead in a song likely proves he's not willing to have a conversation with him about it, as this even made Lil Baby make a very surprising move. Academics tweeted, "The streets are saying Lil Baby unfollowed Gunna today. Y'all think the industry giving Gunna too much of a hard time for being a truth teller or nah?" As this was the most surprising. Lil Baby and Gunna have been best friends for several years. They even started their music careers together as well, alongside Young Thug's guidance, which is why it was very surprising that Gunna would do such a thing to Young Thug. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the Young Thug trial. It's been District Trending, and I'm out. Peace.